How do you deal with when you get triggered from childhood trauma? How is it that you cope with that?
Um, right now I feel like very blessed that triggers have like come down a lot because I've been trying to like work on healing since I was 21 years old and now I'm 32. But with the triggers, I just cry. I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to still grieve because there's no time period for grieving. Like you don't heal with time. Like it's something that you got to keep like working on. At first, I hated crying because like my mom was always like, don't like I wasn't allowed to have emotions and I wasn't allowed to cry. My dad raised me not to cry either. So I used to get angry when I cried. Now, like through the education and like reading books and self help, like I allow myself to just feel what I'm feeling, because I know that the time will pass. But I don't have to hide it. I don't have to suppress it anymore.
Like afraid to fail, and that's what I mean, looking back now, I have the confidence to fail. Like the more mistakes you make, the better you become. It's insane how, like, I mean, if you can make it out without going to jail or anything like that. But those people that made a lot of mistakes when they were younger, man, they it kind of encouraged them to become more successful.
Roll me, Mac.
Was a positive role model growing up, other than your parents, who is related to you? I actually have two. Yeah, I actually have two role models, if you will. I'll say this: I admired how they moved, because I believe for me becoming who I'm going to be, it's really up to me. But as far as the pointers, who I took a lot of pointers from, I'll start with my Uncle Vaughn, right? My Uncle Vaughn would come and visit me when we lived in Cuba. He came visit his brother and sister-in-law and all that stuff, but he, wanted to hang with his nephew. So me and Uncle Vaughn would play Nintendo to no end. You know what I'm saying? This is when he's still fairly young. I want to say Uncle Vaughn had to be all of maybe 22, 23, something like that. But that's my guy, man. I ain't no other way to put it, man. That's my guy to this very day. But I would see him move with his family in a way that just always stuck out to me, and and provided for his family. To me, they always had something fresh. Like anybody that had the dopest video games all the time, I just thought it was so fresh, But to grow up and watch Uncle Von move, as he got older, being there for his mom, number one. Can't tell me shit, dog. Uncle Von is there for grandma like nobody's business, man. For his kids, let me tell you, man, I almost get choked up thinking about this cat, man. Uncle Von really showed me, as far as like an example of how, a father is to be there for their kids every waking moment, when they fuck up, when they do stupid shit, no matter what it is. If it means busting their ass in a card game or whatever it is, like Uncle Von's there. And just, and I have no other way to put it, he's there, from what I see, again, outside looking in. This is obviously just my perspective, but Uncle Von is, like, to me, one of the dopest cats that I met in my lifetime, man, as far as just honestly being there for his kids. And then showing up for his wife too, Don't get me wrong, I know marriage isn't pretty, it's not always perfect and all that shit. I'm not here to talk about the ins and outs of a marriage. I'm here to highlight why the role model, if you will, that I felt by watching my Uncle Von, how he moved with his family. I even had his baby brother move in with him at one point in time, took in another person's kid, took in his wife's kid as well and treated him as his own, you know what I mean? And I've heard my cousin talk about Uncle Von like that's my daddy, you know what I mean? I love that feeling, you know what I'm saying? And when I've reached out and needed to talk to somebody or even wanted to know more about my dad, or the rest of the family, that was the man I talked to. He always had, he shared stories about the family that I did not know that kind of helped me understand the rest of my family, but especially my father. I'm not able to thank him enough for that. The fact that he brought me closer, you know what I mean, and a level of grace and understanding for my dad. I'll forever be thankful to him for that. Yeah, Uncle Von is the shit. Truth be told, man. Steeler fan, but they can get a pass. They can get a pass. That's just NFL humor. But no, my Uncle Von, just how he showed up, just how he shows up for his kids and grandkids too, man. Like they love the fuck out of their granddad. What I've watched him, grow from this young boy, that I knew as I'm a baby, kid, as being like 5, 6 years old. And my Uncle Von, there was one point in time where I wanted that super scope, right? I'll never forget this shit. And I guess Dantas, my cousin, his stepson, that I guess they were done with it or they had another one, whatever the case was. But when we were in Lexington Park and Pax River, my dad was stationed there, Uncle Von sent that to me. Like the super scope game or whatever, and the scope itself. And like, to me, that was big. And it's a materialistic thing, but looking back at it, like, just sent it just because it could, you know what I mean? It's just little things like that, Or when I was transitioning from Miami to move to Georgia, right before moving, here to Jax, my aunt let me crash with him, and we just kicked it too. And, he cooked up some food, and we just talked. Honestly, we just talked. Well, I think we watched something funny, you know what I'm saying, and that was it. It didn't take much. It don't cost much to have peace, you know what I'm saying. But I got to chill with my uncle. I got to talk with him just about anything, family, what have you. And it's different, I'm obviously, the relationship is different because I'm not his actual kid. So, you can talk to me a certain way that you might not be able to talk to your children or want to talk to your children a certain way. But I tell you, man, when we link up though, it's much appreciated, more than he knows. And if he ever watches this, man, I love you so much, man. That's not a love more than my other uncles or anything like that, but the love that I have for you, man, I promise you is genuine. I'm not able to thank you enough for giving me some like tools as far as to how to carry myself as a man, to provide for the family. So I just wanted to honestly, man, just say thank you. Thank you for giving me a blueprint. And my my second choice for what would be considered someone that showed me the ropes as far as providing for family and being there for your family as well is my Uncle Trey. My Uncle Tracy, man. The interesting thing is like growing up, you come from like a big family and scattered around, and a lot of kids, having a lot of kids, a lot of aunts and uncles, and you grow up around your cousins, and I really grew up around like my cousins Torian and Trey, and then AJ, and of course Kyra. And I was much closer to them because obviously we're closer in age. But once I joined the Air Force, I remember talking to my uncle right before I joined the Air Force. I think my mom kind of got him to kind of talk to me, and we just kicked it. And that was kind of like I would say the building blocks of what would be one of the most fondest relationships, connections that I can value to this day. And I joined the Air Force. I'm there for like a year, and then Unc tells me through email he's got orders to Hurlburt. And I think they were coming from New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were stationed out in Cannon. I think they were stationed in Cannon. I could be wrong. Unc, you see this, I'm sure you can correct it. But yeah, they moved from Cannon to Hurlburt. And this brought me closer and kind of revisited that relationship that I had with my cousins, because all we used to do was game, and I was like big cousin kicking the little cousins out because it's just so much energy, you know what I mean? And it's funny how the tables turned later on in life when I'm literally trying to get their attention later on, when they were living in Orlando. But when getting back to my Uncle Tracy, the man took me in. He just took me in. And he didn't have to. He was looking out for his nephew, his sister's son. But like him and Aunt Tracy, they did more than they could realize for me, and I'll forever be indebted to them for their kindness, for the love that they showed me. When they got to Hurlburt, I was young, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. And I didn't have I didn't have a clue as far as what I was doing with my life. And I would learn that I would be I discovered I was a father, becoming a father. And it freaked me the fuck out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still a baby. I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. And low self-esteem is like, I don't want to mess this up with this, with this little girl. I want her to have, everything she needs. So I had a lot of on-the-job training watching my Uncle Tracy move with his family. There's some funny moments, seeing Uncle Tracy and like Tori and Trey, like Tori and Trey, being twins. And anybody that knows twins or has twins in the family like that, it's fun to watch them just interact with each other and bounce off of each other, and just the love that they have for one another, even to this very day, like the love that they have. I love it. I love it seeing the family like that. But Uncle Tracy, he would let me just hang out at the crib, get out of work, nothing going on. I'm missing my family. I'm missing my mother, my father. It's the first time moving away from the family. So to have family within region, literally, I was like 5 to 10 minutes away from, my uncle, whether I was when I was in the dorms or whether when I was, had my own place off base. I was like maybe all of 5 to 10 minutes at most away from them. And I got to hang out in the garage, and that's where, I spent most of my time there watching YouTube, because I discovered that Martin was on YouTube. And if anybody knew me back then and even now, like I'm Martin fanatic to the highest degree. And they didn't come out on DVDs yet, so I just hung out in his garage and I would literally watch Martin to no end, and get on Facebook and MySpace too. Well, no, not Facebook, MySpace. I was on MySpace hard, just trying to be validated and all that stuff. But I would sit with my aunt and uncle, and we would watch Law and Order. Aunt Tracy used to love some Law and Order. We would watch that for hours, and just lounge. And then like when they would do basketball tournaments, they would have me come over to watch Zulu. God rest his soul. Zulu, the German Rottweiler they had. Take him out so he could use the bathroom, give him something to eat, and just do that while they were gone. So I mean, they pretty much let me use their home as my own, and I never took that for granted. At least not to my ability. But Uncle Tracy showed me what it was like to be there for your family, what it's like to work multiple jobs if that's what it takes to provide for your family, what it means to be there for like your wife, you know what I'm saying, show up emotionally, physically, spiritually, for your wife, as well as engaging with your kids. We used to ball, we would play ball sometimes, like run at the gym, and it would be Tori, Trey, AJ, and we just play ball together. And watching them just bond, man, and seeing him grow as a man, man in faith too, as well as Aunt Tracy, But Uncle Tracy definitely showed me a way of being there for his family that I just needed a blueprint as far as what could be done. How do you do this? The love that you have for your family. As I said, I'm not able to thank him enough for it. It's truly just remarkable to watch. And I know that sometimes, we'll talk. You never feel like you're doing enough. No matter, like, especially the ones that are really trying, never feel like they're doing enough. It just seems that way. And the ones that ain't worth two damn fly smash feel like they the shit. They really do feel like they be doing shit, man. But, Uncle Trey, man, he used to sit and talk with me about a lot of shit. He would talk with me about, again, I think marriage. Like I was on my way to be, married, and I was being a rebel. I came in the Air Force engaged, and then I broke it off, like a sucker, through a Dear John letter. It's not something I'm proud of, but that is what happened. And, I talked with him about it, and he gave it to me straight. He gave it to me straight about it. So as much, like I said, much appreciated. It's not something I'm necessarily proud of, and it was one of those things that I kind of punished myself for years, and it took a while to just accept the decision of what was done. But sitting there with Uncle Trey and just learning how to become a man, from my understanding, back then, I'm not able to thank him enough for what he showed me when we were there and I was on our station at Hurlburt, man. Like anytime I needed to, like it was a time when our washer and dryer went out at the house, and Uncle Tracy and Aunt Tracy let me come through and let me wash my clothes. Very grateful for for them being able to do so, running up. Well, I mean, I think it's military, so it's on base, so it's not really running up their water. But like being able to go there, just kick it with my cousins, play on the keyboard with my cousin, who is now an actual music producer. Like we joke, we played as music producers, as him being a high school kid and me being early 20s. Early 20s, and now he's doing his thing, and I'm not able to thank them for the moments, because you don't realize that you're living in the moment until that moment has passed, and being able to see, damn, we really had a good time then. I do miss those days, but I did want, like I said, I just wanted to highlight and for the question, I wanted to definitely shed light to my Uncle Vaughn and my Uncle Tracy. Like I said, y'all ever see this, man, know I love you. I appreciate everything that you shown me, what you show me continuously, even though, we might not talk every day, we might not see each other every day, man, but trust and believe I'm watching. And I'm grateful for the building blocks that you gave me early on as a man trying to figure out this thing called life. What would you have done differently as a teenager if you were 10 times more confident? Well, I would have stayed on the basketball team, that's for sure. I quit twice. JV basketball team for Nansman. I just was so entitled. At the same time, had low self-esteem. So it's like I thought that, what I was doing was enough to make it. So I would have had the discipline to stay on the team and play ball. Essentially that's what we're here for. We're here to play the game. It's just what we love. And I'd say I had the discipline, and if I was more confident as a teenager, I definitely would have joined more clubs. I would have joined chorus. I would have joined as I'd have done a lot more sports. It's easier to take the test after you've already, taken it. But like back then, I really did, be in athletics. I wouldn't have allowed my insecurity to prevent me from trying all the things that I wanted to try to not appear, not cool or corny, whatever it was, the stupid shit that kids worry about in high school and in middle school too, where you just do what you want to do. That's why I have so much respect for the weird kid. And by weird, that just means they don't do what everyone else does. They move on their own accord. You know what I'm saying? They do what they want to do when they want to do it. And it comes to fashion, they dress how they want to dress. They're not trying to have the latest Jordan or whatever the fad is at the time. They're able to just do what they dress how they want to dress. They play the games they want to play. They listen to the music they want to listen to. And I was anything but that. I was so much trying. I was so trying to fit in, which made me invisible, honestly. And I wanted to fit in so bad, but I would have had the confidence to join said clubs. I would have learned a lot, especially from the business courses. And I was fortunate enough to senior year. I got in kind of late, but DECA. I was able to join DECA, and DECA was all about like marketing and business. So I learned a little bit, but even more, we got to go on trips and shit. And that was always cool to do that with your friends. Whenever you got to leave the area and, be somewhere with your friends, it was a moment. And like I said, I quite enjoyed that. But back then, looking back now with more confidence, I would have just had the discipline to grow my hair out and keep it long, because I did not let I didn't have the patience. I get it long enough, and then it would get. I had cornrows for like a hot second. That was like the Iverson time frame. Iverson was very big when we were in high school, so it's like, man, you wanted to kind of emulate looking like Iverson, trying to be, cool and whatnot. But I would have had the discipline to, like I said, to grow my hair out. I would have had the discipline to work as many hours as I could at the job. Eventually, I would take that on, and just the discipline really to be a better. I would have been a better leader for my brother as well, in the house. And it was fun. I would think that I looked out for him as much as I could. After a while, at first we hated each other's guts, early on, because you're not really taught why, to love your brother and all that stuff. You just know that you have to share shit, and at least that's where my mentality was. But I saw that somebody had to show him, the way. And I'm not gonna say everything I did was ideal. There's a lot of things that I would change about what I did, as far as like, being a big brother to him. But trust and believe, that's my baby. Even still to this day, that's my baby. So it's like trying to, I would have done, I would put him on a path of, just I would say a lot more helpful tools and tips than my immature, as funny though, self gave back at that, that time frame as a teenager. But really just staying with the things that I wanted to do. I had the discipline to my grades for sure. I studying. You're like the confidence that I have now, knowing that if I study hard enough, that I would be able to pass. With flying colors. And my study habits were horrid. They were horrible. I mean, I tried to study listening to DMX or whatever movie was on, not sitting in silence and just actually learning how to read. And that's just being young, not really being taught study habits, trying to figure it out on your own. But looking back, man, I definitely would have had more confidence to do so, to sit and actually take this shit seriously. Because I was actually, once I put my mind to it, especially like senior year, I was doing all right on the scholastic level. And then when I got to college, much later on, when I moved to North Carolina, I think that was like, 2011? I started college. I was a little nervous at first, but once I figured it out, like, it came so simple to me, like, to learn these subjects. And I realized that I had a love for learning and I've become a sponge for it, almost obsessed with it. So having that confidence, that kid, as a teenager, I would have had top-notch grades. I would have had the discipline to stay on the team, regardless of how much playing time I got. I would have had the discipline to stay on the team and just be part of the team, because that's really what it's about. Instead of the selfish goals, like, hey, you're trying to make it out of here, but play your role. And I didn't get that back then. I didn't understand that. I was, like I said, it's so contradicting. Someone to feel so entitled, yet having low self-esteem while being on a basketball team, like afraid to fail. And that's what looking back now, I have the confidence to fail. Like, the more mistakes you make, the better you become. It's insane how, like, if you can make it out without going to jail or anything like that, but those people that made a lot of mistakes when they were younger, man, it kind of encouraged them to become more successful. And I think that, I know that's what happened for me with, like, in school, I trying to be a class clown, trying to fit in, trying to, be some little girl face, not even realizing, with low self-esteem at that, trying to be in this girl's face, and I got low self-esteem, go figure. But not even realizing that I have so much of, like, potential when it comes to scholastics, and just by focusing. And, the more you focus on yourself, the more you focus on bettering yourself each day, the better you become. That aura, that energy reflects around your peers. And I wouldn't learn that till later on in life, like 35. It's kind of like that. But I look at those years, those teenage years, and granted, this is all for fictitious, going back and changing things. But had I not gone through that, I don't know if I'd be where I am right now today. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for every mistake. I'm grateful for every failed class, every D I brought home, every C, the few A's that I might have seen, the friendships that were made, the teachers that I had, the times that I've had with my parents, the times I had with my little brother, the times that I had going to grandma's house, the times I've had going to see, uncles and aunts around the area. Just growing up, in Suffolk, and really just all seeing that, like, I didn't know there was any other life outside of the 757 in Salisbury. That's all my life was, when we, would grow up, that's really all it was. It was, you went to school, you played outside, you went to church, you went to your grandma's house. And then when you turned 16, you went to work, and which was not too far from the church. So that was all my life was. So to grow up and be able to venture out and see different things, so different people, different cultures, it taught me so much, man. And had I not made the decisions that I made, it wouldn't. You change one thing, you change everything. The butterfly effect. So, yeah. But looking back at life back then, if I was 10 times more confident, I definitely would have had the discipline to stay on those teams that I quit, the discipline to study hard so that I can achieve the goal of trying to pass the class, and just that discipline of being a better, like really just being like a better big brother, a better son, whatever it takes, to try to do my best and put forth my effort and overcome laziness. Yeah, definitely overcome laziness. What's your favorite amusement park activity? My favorite amusement park activity, I'll give it from a food aspect and I'll give it from a ride aspect. I certainly enjoy rides that are in the dark because of the fear that comes with it, right? Growing up, we used to have the roller coaster at King's Dominion called Flight of Fear. And you could not see anything inside that fucker. And it was like, you got the older cousins, and you're not used to riding roller coasters. You got them talking and trying to build up the fear to it. And like, oh, it's just scary. It's a scary ride and all that shit. So, of course, your anxiety has taken over, and it's worse in your head than it is in reality. And then you learn how much you enjoy like going on the ride. So I'll say like the rides that are in the dark, like at Universal at the Mummy. The Mummy goes in the dark and stuff like that. It's interactive. It's got different things. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't gone on it, but yeah, it's in the part of it is in the dark. So like I like the roller coasters that are in the dark. And food wise, funnel cakes. I'm on the move looking for funnel cakes before leaving an amusement park. That's what I live for. But the truth be told, now as an adult, I only just want to taste the shit. That's it. And after that, it's like, all right, everybody grab a piece, So, but funnel cakes and rides that are in the dark. Your house containing everything you own catches fire after saving your loved ones and pets. You have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why? It'd be books. Honestly. Yeah, it'd be books. Books show you who you are. What you read is what you become. At least what I've learned. So if I could save anything, it would be the books. And that's more so because it prepares me for life. You can learn 50 years of life in one book if you buy a book, written by somebody who has life lessons to pass on to you. And once I learned that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get these books. I'm gonna figure out how to cram 50 years of life from somebody else, mistakes made, ways of becoming successful into this one book. And I'm going to learn it. I'm gonna study this. I'm gonna be a sponge to all this. Like during COVID, that's really all I did. All I did was read, and it changed my whole view of the life around me. So yeah, I would want to save books. Books are are definitely something that I value, and it's certain type of books. So like the Four Agreements is a book that I would save. Certainly, there's Four Agreements: The Mastery of Love, The Mastery of Self, the Mindset by Carol Dweck. There's so like it'd be a gang of books I try to save to the house was burning. I mean, of course, books probably burn faster because it's paper and shit and fire. Yeah, I want to save those because it can alter my life. It can alter my mindset. It can alter my bank account, for that matter. And like a person's library shows much about the person themselves. That's what my mentor Jim Rohn taught. God rest his soul. And like his mentor said, like you can check them. You can tell a lot by a man's life by looking at his library. And what you have to read says everything about you. And that's why, like, for me, like I'll get like comic book stuff, like encyclopedias for Marvel and things like that, or WWE encyclopedia, because I'm being a Hulk fan. I didn't even, I'm a late bloomer. I didn't like that shit until I was an adult. But as far as like comics goes, and that's just started with the movies. But when it comes to wrestling, yeah, I grew up watching that, but now I prefer to read self-help more often than not. I'm not opposed to fiction. I just prefer to grab something, to learn something, to develop myself, to constantly try to better myself as I get older. So I try to do my damnness to make sure that I absorb from these books, from the people around me, mistakes, achievements, all of that, to become a better person for myself. And thus, if I become a better person for myself, everybody else around me gets affected by that. And so books, definitely books, would be the thing that I would try to strive for, to save, and be held trying to grab them all, so I get as much as I could. But like the Four Agreements, for sure. The Four Agreements is like, that's one of those ones that I considered to be like my Bible, like keeping that, because of what it did for me, not taking shit personal as much as possible. I mean, you can relapse from time to time, but that's the beauty of having that to go back to and be like, all right. And then of course, my books from Eiselganger on Stoicism, on Taoism, and just how to be still, how to keep the mind still so that you do not react emotionally. I love those. They taught me a lot about myself. They taught me a lot about masculinity and just what that means, and how to respond in conflict, how to remain calm in chaos as much as you can. We're all, we're all human. And so, just learning from that, but yeah, there was a house fire. Definitely would want to save the books. Definitely want to save the books. So yeah, there's that. I don't really have much to add to this one. This one I really want something to expound on. So I'm going to end the episode on that note. But I appreciate everybody sitting through this episode. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys liking. Appreciate you doing, if you want to do comments, subscribe for sure. Definitely subscribe. Help us out here at J.E.T.Sense. You know what I mean? Share on your wall. Share on whatever it is. You know what I mean? Tell your friends about it. Whatever it takes to kind of get the message out there for healing. That's really what we're about, man. So on that note, I'm Romy Mac. I'm very grateful for every listener, every watcher, but I'm out. Good night, kids.